That's why I'm just waiting a bit to see once it's set up the move. Okay. All right. So thank you, Ini, for coming up.
You're welcome,
there
sir.
are about 3 types of IELTS or more that is written depending on the countries that you are traveling to. Let me start with academic IELTS. Academic IELTS is actually for countries like UK and Australia, and of course USA. That's United States of America. If you want to go as a student or as a professional. Now, professional in the sense that maybe you want to go as a nurse, a doctor, or you want to go as a pharmacist, or you want to go as maybe a lab scientist or a dentist, specific professional. So that's when you would require the academic writing. It's actually within the range of 89 to 95,000 in Nigeria, and it's made up of 4 modules: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Usually the writing and the speaking, and the writing is usually in 2 tasks. Task 1 and task 2. Task 1 is actually usually analytic essay in nature. You analyze like something that has to do with a graph or something like that, or a chart or something like that. While the task 2 is usually descriptive in nature, where you go to share your opinion or to tell us about your idea. Okay. The next one is the general essay. The general IELTS. General IELTS is actually for Canada majorly. If you're going there as a professional, whether it's a nurse or a doctor in Canada, or you are coming to UK as a healthcare worker, that's why that general exams. Usually in UK, anyone that's traveling to UK as a worker or at every level, you have to write an exam called UKVI. That's United Kingdom Visa Immigration. So they expect that they will see results to confirm that you actually can speak English language. And that result, once you have a 4 and above, you are fine. And your general exams that they require. So it's not exactly a simple form of IELTS. It's just a form of IELTS that is more related to daily living, more than the more scientific academic exam. All right. It's also made up of the same listening, reading, writing, speaking, but the reading is usually simpler in form and more direct to human, more directly related to human issues or issues around our community. Why the listening, why the writing is usually task 1, task 2, it's just like academic. But that task 1 is usually letter writing. So they have to write a letter to somebody, whether formal or informal letter. The same number of words, 150 words. Why the task 2 remains the same. So task 2 is similar, is the same thing as the academic as well. And then the speaking, all other things are the same, except for that task 1, which is letter writing, and then reading, which is usually more around community issues. Okay, so they need that in Canada and for healthcare workers in UK. Then there's what they call life skill 1. Life skill. Now the life skill is in a simpler format of academic IELTS. It's a simpler format of academic IELTS, where they just ask you speaking, listening, and maybe reading. Not so much to really deal with. They just want to know your knowledge of English language and how you can apply to community conversations and all that without any stress and struggle. And quite simpler. I think the life skill also could be done at home, and it's a similar format, but usually with less stricter conditioning, like the academic and the other ones that I mentioned. Okay, so all of these IELTS formats, I think the life skill is directly for UK. Okay, Tim, you can't hear me. Now, if you look at my hand, just follow my hand movement. the fifth button to the right, fifth button to the right, and then you press it 2 times. 5 buttons to the right, press twice. You hear me? So if you can locate the fifth button to the right and press it twice, I wish I can do a screenshot so that maybe that can help. So if you go on our general page, I'm trying to make a description of what I just said now. That could help you to understand what I'm trying to say. So, click the fifth button. Somebody is watching something. All right. Okay. So I might have to mute Alex. Okay, I think Alex has controlled that. So I sent that on our page. If you go, let me just type that. Go on our page and finally on the page, on the IS page, follow the instruction there. All right, so I believe everybody can hear me clearly. Can we all hear me?
It's not spicy.
Can we all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to try and help out on avoiding distractions. So I might maybe all right, just to allow us to connect better. So if you want to talk, I can unmute you by myself so that you can talk. So like I was trying to say, those 3 IX formats, the UK usually is in use of some of these formats, as well as Australia. I think Australia too has a use of this stuff too. Australia too utilize IX as well. Now let me just quickly talk about the different conditions for IX. Quick one. If you're writing as a nurse, you will need academic IELTS in any country you are going, except Canada. If Canada will require that you just write your general IELTS. But if you're writing as a nurse, you will need what I call academic IELTS, and then the requirement is between 6. You should have 7 actually, but for the different modules you have 7 for listening, 7 for writing, 6.5. 7 for listening, 7 for reading, 6.5 for writing, and 6.5 for writing, and then 7 for speaking. So those are the requirements. 7 for writing and for listening. I think the earliest guy was distracting me, so I've taken him out. 7 for listening, 7 for reading, 6.5 for writing, and 7 for speaking. Is that okay? And of course, when you have this course, you're going to be able to enter into any country in the world. But I observed that in Australia, they do require that you actually have 7 in all the modules. So in Australia, you can have 7 in listening, reading, writing. You should have 7 in all of the 4 modules for Australia. But in for UK, you have 6.5 in writing. Now, there's a different a different requirement when it comes to entering into USA. In USA, you must have 7 in speaking, while you can have 6 and above in other modules. So that's for USA, for nurses. 7 in speaking, 6 and above in other modules. Okay. I hope you're following me, please. So I'm trying to see how I can remove, I think this person appears to be disturbing me. That's Alex. So 7 in I mean 7 in speaking, and then 6 and above in normal. That's for USA. So most of the people that does this IELTS, when it comes to nursing, they're able to actually make that grade of 7 in speaking, because speaking is really quite simple, and so they're able to make it. Now, if you are going as a doctor, for most of the countries, they require 7 and above in all the modules, and of course, they also expect that you have 7.5 overall. So being a doctor or medical doctor is quite, a bit hard because of that requirement. Now, as a healthcare worker in the UK, once you have 6 in any of your band score, you are fine. For general, actually. So general IELTS 6, you are fine. Now, as a student, the university will determine the band score they are looking for. So there are different how would I call it now? Different categories of band scores that you can actually that you can be given as a timeline, And of course, some institutions lower the requirement for healthcare workers from 6 to 4. Because all they're after is, can you speak English? Can people hear you? And that's for UK. So they're not requiring that you actually have anything higher than 4, which makes it easier for most people to actually pass the exam. All right. So having said that, how do you prepare for the exams? What is the best approach to prepare for the exams? The first thing is that you need to, first of all, be assured that you want to pass. Now, most people prepare, they want to just see, let me see what the exam look like. So they just go and test themselves. The first time I wrote the exam, I had it in mind that I was going to pass the exam. I didn't write the exam as though I want to test myself. So I went for 3 months training with a particular outfit called Scott English Success. So I actually took time to understand what this exam looked like. It's funny how most people, try to, I think I've got someone that is not willing to be part of this class here. It's funny how some people, coming to the exam, and then when they come in, they just go on to, they're not actually sure of what exam looks like. They're just going to try it out. I never tried it out. I went through that course. It was an online outfit, purely online. I didn't even meet any physical tutor. Maybe that was why I didn't actually pass my writing, because I made sure that my listening and reading were okay based on my practice on that particular outfit. And then when I saw that I was fine, I went to writing. So, but the reason why I didn't really pass writing then, because I only had 6 in writing, was because I did not have anyone to assess or evaluate my work. So because I didn't have anyone to evaluate my work, it was difficult for me to know whether I was actually writing to the standard that the exam. I only read what they asked. I followed all the instructions, but there was no one that was checking my work to see whether I was doing right. So, and before I learned I needed an evaluator, I wrote the exam 4 times. before I learned that mystery. Now, because if you don't understand the simplicity around preparation, you just assume that I can just go and I could be lucky to write. So most people will just go on YouTube. I know my first attempt of it, I didn't check any YouTube video. I focused majorly on this particular outfit that was training and coaching students. And I did well with my listening and my reading. I had 7.5, while I had 7 in my speaking. That was my first attempt. But my writing was not okay because I didn't have any evaluator. So when I was ready to have an evaluator by my fourth attempt, I got one young man who focused on checking my writing and then gave me some few tips. I think I stayed with the man for about 2 months too. And then I passed. So you must have it in mind that you want to pass. That's the first thing. That's the first strategy to writing it. And then go out, just go all out for the knowledge you need, the knowledge base you need. Now, if you are writing, if you are under an emergency to write IELTS, you will need a personal tutor. Maybe you need to write the exam by next week, or you need to write the exam by 2 weeks' time. You need someone that can take you and show you, because most of the time at our level of English understanding, we have known some skills by default. So if you ever ask anybody say, I just went to the exam and I just passed, that is not exactly true. The person has already learned some skills by default. And because the person has learned those skills, it was easy for that person to adapt to the knowledge base that IELTS required and just pass. And that is what I call trial and error. It is not true for everybody. Someone say, my friend wrote and he passed. That means I too will write and may pass. It may not be exactly true because you may not have this level of skill set that person has, and you don't even know what that person has exposed himself to in preparation. So you cannot conclude that because the person passed, you too will pass. So you must have a grip on the skill set. Now, if you have the time to practice, maybe you have 3 months, you can join a group where they are giving authentic information about IELTS success. Now, you will not find this group. Most likely not find this group for free. You may likely find this group for free. You may not likely find this group for free. I think I got quite a number of persons I needed to just be blocking and removing. I understand what happened. What is happening here? So you may not necessarily find a lot of groups for free. Now, if you find some groups for free, if you are lucky to find some group for free, usually those groups, you may need to spend a lot of time to find the authentic information before you discover, before you actually get the best from that group. You need to spend some time on that group to find out information. But for paid groups, what I understand about paid groups, especially when it comes to IELTS, is that they will present key information to you as early and as quickly as possible. Now, what is the issue about IELTS? IELTS is not about information. That's the shocker. You don't need a lot of information to pass IELTS. Mrs. Solomon is very strong today. Is that what I said? You don't need a lot of information to pass IELTS. What you need to pass IELTS is what? Skill. So it is what you know to do, not what you know, that will make you pass. So no matter how much, which is why I'm not a supporter of people watching many videos. You watch video on you watch YouTube on Mr. Junker. You went to Mrs. last week, and then you watch his video. Then you went ahead to another person. You watch their video. You watch this person. So by the time you watch all the videos in the world, at the end of the day, you discover that you have actually lost You have lost grip. This one will say, go this way. Now, this one will come and say, that way you are going, no, is very wrong. Go, come back. So, as this one is saying, go, you are coming. Because it's not us to go come. So, most of the time, it is actually very, very uneasy. Let me use the word uneasy to directly, find these things when you are watching different videos. You need one person that knows what to do to pass. Whether the person is operating as a group or is operating as a personal class. And like I said, you don't need a personal class except you are looking forward to writing the exam very, very soon. Maybe you want to write the exam in 2 weeks, in 4 weeks. You can go for a personal class. But if you want to write the exam maybe in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, then you'll be okay with a group. All right, of people that knows what they are doing. And then on that group, you can just pick the key points, and then you're able to hit the nail on the head and get the form. So when you're now about to write the exam, you may now get a personal tutor who can now able to evaluate your work, because evaluation is the major thing for writing. No matter what you write, you don't know whether you are correct or not. That's the truth. You cannot say whether what you are saying is right or it is wrong. So you will still need someone that could help you to actually assess. Just give you okay, you are writing right. Okay, what you have said is true. Yeah. So you will still need someone that can help you with that assessment. And there are groups that actually allow for assessment too. They just say, submit your work. I operate a group that allows for assessment. If you're on that group, I just say you submit your work. But you will not likely find anybody that will be willing to check your work for free. That's one thing I think you should know. I don't know whether anybody has seen that before, except maybe the person is your personal friend. That was okay. Let me assess your writing for free. I don't think you find anyone like that. If you find anything like that, be hopeful that what person is marking is actually accurate. Because it may not be accurate. It may not be accurate. Is that okay? So, having said all of what I said, I'm trying to just explain to you that if you are going to be writing the exam urgently, you need a private tutor that can just take you on areas of your concern. If you're writing the exam, if you're going to be writing the exam, sorry, I need to pull out anyone I'm passing that is really disturbing the class. If you're writing the exam, maybe you still have time, you join a group. And if you're joining the group, you will need someone that can help you to assess your work. To pass IELTS, it's not about what you know. It's about what you know to do. So which means that practice is the most critical area that you need. I've got students that I've taught that got very lovely score in IELTS. And I never made them more than maybe 5 or 6 times. Guess why? They discovered the secret of passing IELTS. They applied it and they went to pass. They sent their work to me. Please help me check this essay. I checked. Oh, this essay is lovely. And then they went to pass. Simple as that. So advice would be that don't be desperate to write the exam. Be desperate to know what you need to write the exam. Be desperate to practice it and be good with it. When you have been desperate and you have learned that, now go and pass. So before I leave you guys, I want to talk about the mystery of writing. Recently, I did a essay for if my wife is doing masters, I'm doing masters too. So I did an essay for my wife who is on masters. And then I observed that after I submitted the essay, I got 90 over 100, And I now checked, there were lovely words about the essay. This essay is so long. Meanwhile, I'm an IELTS teacher. What I simply did was to apply the writing skills to write the essay. And if you observe very well, academic writing requires two tasks, analytic and descriptive. So I just applied what I teach people with an essay, with the IELTS, and then I applied to the essay, and I did very well. What did I observe? I observed that there is a format that you must cram or master. That's the mystery. If you don't know that format and you pass writing, that means that you are used to academic writing by maybe someone that has taught you, maybe at university level or something like that. Academic writing is the kind of writing you do in your research, that the way you build your thesis, that is the picture. But there's a format for it when it comes to IELTS. If you don't know it, you don't need to strive, and which is why most people, when they go to YouTube, the YouTube confuse them. They will tell them so many things, but they will not tell them the exact words they need to know. There are some words that is called IELTS words. There are words that are specific to IELTS exam. If you don't know those words specific to IELTS exam, forget it. Are you getting my point now? I don't know what that makes. I just made sense to you now. If you don't know the words specific to IELTS exams, and you are just trying to use your own words, you may fail. Because there are some words that you may assume that are actually IELTS words, but they're not IELTS words. Because of our own kind of English and all that. So what I do for my students is, I teach them about what they need to know, and I give them the framework. So the framework, a student told me 2 years ago when she went for the exam, she said, "Sir, that your framework, I crammed it. I didn't even understand what you taught me. I just crammed the framework and I carried it to the exam hall. Got to the exam hall, copied and pasted. And when I copied and pasted it, I submitted. Guess what she had? 7. One of my students just wrote 2 weeks ago. She had 7.5 in writing. Copy and paste. No need to struggle. No need to to whatever. Copy and paste. That's the mystery. So of course, I won't put that copy and paste out in my general class, because definitely it requires commitment to learn it. If people that I teach, they argue with me. So if I'm going to teach that kind of thing, I have to teach it in a class where I know that the person has shown commitment enough to be discussed with me, not to say, what he just taught me, I don't even know the meaning, and just straight into the You must show value for it. And that's why on my group page, I have, like today, I'm having a group class in the next few minutes. For 1 hour, I teach them these things, and then they go apply it, and then they send me a work to show that actually they understood exactly what I'm saying. Exactly. So very simple and very clear. The framework must be learned, must be crammed. Let me use that word. All right. All right. So thank you so much, guys. I don't know if you have questions that you want to ask. I think I saw a few questions. I don't know how people that they don't really, people who do, I don't know. I saw people that just came to this page and I don't know how they appeared on the page. So, but please, if you have questions, this is time to ask, and then I will answer. All right, should I assume that you don't have question? When I said BBC. Required pass, man. I talked about it. Oh, is that not okay? Well, once you have 7 and above, in your general writing, I think for me, having 7 and above in your writing is more crucial than anything, because that's the higher your score in writing, the more the chances you have to meet up with the standard. That's for Canada. You understand? Some will even write 2 exams and they now combine it together. So in general, you have to have very high modules. That's what I think works for writing for these exams. When it comes to Canada, you must have very high scores, very high scores, very high scores. Is that okay? Yeah. So having said that, somebody was saying, what I should teach this skills. Yes, I definitely will do. But the thing, like I said, the specific framework for this stuff, they are, what I will personally not release them on the free class, because the people I taught even on a personal class, they fought with me on this matter. I once I that told me that, sir, this thing you are teaching us, so how will you work? This thing, because they were not sure. And if I had not written the exam and passed by that method, I would doubt it myself. So for you to come to knowledge of that information, I would prefer that I take you on a one-on-one or on a group class where you have actually shown commitment that yes, so you take responsibility for your action. You won't go and say, I don't even know what this guy was teaching, and then probably just mess around with it. So that's the reason why I wanted this forum, is just to help us to have very basic information about how to pass IS. And I think that there are some things you probably see on this, that even as your level of skill frame, at your level of skill set, you could apply those things and still pass. You get my point now. But like I said, don't go into IET if you're not sure that you're ready for the exam. It's not going to help. It's going to be a waste of time. It's better not to waste money and then go for a secure 5,000 naira class. Imagine you go for a 5,000 class of maybe 10,000 naira or 15,000 naira, and then you go for the exam 89,000 naira. You spend 100,000 naira and you pass once. And to go for the exam 3 times, 89, 89, 89, to test yourself that you do not know whether you have spent almost 200K. At the end of the day, you are still not sure. It's a waste of money. I did it 5 times before I realized that I didn't land. I don't know. So desperation can allow you to just say, okay, let me just try my best. But you don't need to waste the time and the energy when you can actually have the information at your fingertips. Somebody asked a question last on my page. I was saying, what are the forums I have for the class? I have 3 forums, but I have actually 4. There's a forum I have that is a pure website. If you go on that website, you will learn everything you need to learn about it without any intervention. The format, everything is there. www.mercycrownacademy.com is just there. It's dump there, the videos, everything. Just go on, click, watch, and you're fine. But then there's a group class where you can just come and just spend 5 weeks, you're fine. And it's a recycling class. You spend 5 weeks. If you want to continue, you come in again. Every single day we meet, we focus on one module. Then we use one day to maybe deal with other things. Then, of course, the personal classes, and then the evaluation. The personal class are prepared for evaluation, because evaluation is the key thing in this exam, not even what you know. So I don't care what you know until you can do it properly and get very high scores with it. That's it. So it makes it quite easy and simple. All right, so I will stop here for now. All right. And having said that, we we'll meet again by next week. But please, if you probably require assistance, you want to exam very urgently, your time is not on your side, and you're looking forward to, eating the exam at a goal, do not delay. Reach out to me ASAP, and then we move on to see how much we can break it through and get the best out of the exam. And we move on. Is that okay? And the earlier the better. There's no point wasting time when you don't have time. It is either has time that doesn't waste time. I mean, either has time that wastes time. But obviously, even if you have time, don't waste it. Okay? So trust that we enjoy this short time that we spent. I look forward to you having a good time. Okay? Is it okay? Any questions before we move on? Let me see. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we meet again next week. We'll focus on something totally different. Right. Do have a wonderful day, wonderful time, yeah?